We're making Bark-Osaurus BBQ, and it's unbelievable. It's so awesome. So right now we're just going to give like an introduction, like kind of like what we're doing all together. So Emily, talk about the binder we're going to put on there.
Okay, so you can use mustard as a base, and you would like rub it on there everywhere, and then you would put the seasoning on so it sticks. And I absolutely hate mustard, but you can't taste it at all. Because if you could, I definitely wouldn't eat it. The barbecue.
But do you recommend using mustard?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool, thanks.
And you can also use this jelly, which like gives it sugar. It has a lot of sugar in it, and it gives it a good bark. And we get like a bunch of these from my dad's work, because someone makes them homemade, and we'll get a bunch of them, and we'll just use it as much as we can. But right now, this is all we got.
And so what you're saying, do is with the jelly, we're actually putting the microwave and kind of nuke it, get it kind of warm, and then we'll just coat the Boston butt with that jelly. It has a lot of sugar into it, and then when you put the seasoning on it, it really sticks to it and creates a very good bark on it. We get a few of those. When I say a few, we probably get about 12 of those around Christmas time, and so we'll use them throughout the year. But when we run out, of course, now we're in August, and that's all we have. We do a lot of Boston butt here. We're going to talk about the seasoning. So the seasoning, what we do is we like to try to use a light seasoning that has a salt content. We get this, I think it's either at Costco or Sam's. It's very good flavor, but it doesn't make it look as nice and doesn't give you the good bark on it. The reason why is it has a lot of salt content in it. You know, it's got garlic and all kinds of stuff in it. It's very good. I got this from the internet. It's got a lot of paprika in it, a lot of brown sugar in it. It looks absolutely beautiful. But the problem is that it doesn't have the best flavor as some of your other ingredients that you could put on the Boston butt. You could use chili powder because chili powder has a great color to it and also gives a very good flavor. Don't use cumin in it. I love the Mexican section, and like at Food Line and stuff. I think this right here was like $2. And it's very good actually. It's got brown sugar and it's got salt, all that kind of stuff in it. But the main thing is that you can put a light coating of all the other seasonings, but make sure when you're doing your Boston butt, make sure you put a lot of brown sugar and a lot of paprika on top of it, because that gives it the color and gives it the bark. The whole thing is we want bark. Bark has flavor. So just want to give you like a little introductory. We're going to smoke it. Probably about 7 hours for 225. We actually got a probe that we put in it. We got the probe from Amazon for like $35. It's great. We're not going to put tinfoil over it and all that kind of stuff. We're just going to smoke it. We're going to use mesquite at the beginning, right?
And then, yep.
And why we use mesquite?
Because it has more of a smoky, it gives it more of a smoky flavor.
Right. And also too, that's the mesquite actually promotes bark. Apple, it creates bark, but not as intense. So a lot of times we'll use mesquite at the beginning, and then we'll use apple at the end. The other thing too that we do is that we cook a whole bunch of Boston butt at the beginning. Like I think the last couple of days we actually done 4 Boston butts, and we'll vacuum seal it. And so we'll show you, we'll vacuum seal it here. You know, we'll just put a date on it and just vacuum seal it. We'll put it in the freezer. And then what we do is we're kind of a big family. So what we'll do is that, you know, I go to work in, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'll put it in the sous vide here. We'll just pop it in there and let it cook at 135, and I'll just set it up, for 8 hours. And then what we'll do is when we come home, we cut the bag open, and we have delicious Boston butt.
Juicy.
The other thing too that I love about the sous vide is that the sous vide helps you. Sometimes the Boston butt is not as tender as it should be. Because what happens is that when you got the Boston butt, you actually cut it in half. You'll have one end that has no bone in it, and that part is really delicious, a lot of bark on it. The other part with the bone in it, it's got more moisture in it. The meat tends to be a little bit, a little tougher, a little tighter. So what we'll do is that we'll take the Boston butts and we'll chop them all up. We'll put them into a bowl, we'll mix it up, and then we'll put it in the bag so that way you have a little bit of both. And the sous vide actually makes it very, very tender, and it actually cooks it at 135, very low temperature for a long period of time, and it's on fat from the Boston butt, and it's absolutely delicious. So these are things that we've learned, throughout the years of cooking all these Boston butts. So hopefully you'll. All right, Emily, what are we cooking here?
The Bark-Osaurus.
Bark-Osaurus. Okay. So the reason why we call it Bark-Osaurus is why?
Because it has a nice bark when you're done.
Right. Okay. All right. And what are we doing now?
We're cutting off the fat.
That's correct. So we're just gonna do that. We're gonna trim it up real quick. And then, how big are these? Do you know?
Nope.
They're around, I think, 9.5 pounds each.
Oh, wow.
We got 2 of them.
Pretty big.
Yep. And we got these on sale for 99 cents a pound. We're just trimming off the fat, just a hard fat. We can leave a little bit there. See, that looks pretty good. All right, and now the biggest thing we're going to do is that we're going to cut it in half. There's a bone that's right here, it runs like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut that right there in half. And that's good. That one's done. Okay, now we're going to do this one. We got all that fat. We call it the fat what?
Cap.
That's correct. It's the fat cap. And the reason why we're cutting it off because the meat is so fat already inside of it, you don't need all that extra fat on it. You know, if this was like beef, which has less fat in it, then I'd say, yeah, that'd be a good idea. So we got a big fat right there. We don't have to get all of it, just
The majority.
yeah, just most of it. So that looks pretty good. And again, you look for that bone. That bone is here. You feel it right here. So we're gonna cut it in half again. And so this side here has the bone in it, this side doesn't. This side here will be more flavor, more tender, but sometimes it might dry a little bit. This one will have, it'll be a little bit firmer, a little tougher, but also have more moisture in it. Okay, so now to make it a Bark-Osaurus, we are going to scar it. Okay, so what we'll do is you just take your knife, just kind of put those lines all across it. They don't have to be beautiful, and then you just go the opposite way. Or I should say 90. I'm going to try to do, I like to do both sides. They don't have to be perfect, just so you get the spices in there. Trim a little bit more of the fat off. Alright, now we're going to do this one. So they don't have to be beautiful. See, that's how it looks just like that. Alright, so what we're going to do is that there's a side we want to be exposed when we smoke it. We're going to do that last, okay? So make sure we're going to do this side first, and then when we flip it over, we'll season this, and this will be on top of the smoker. Okay, so I have all these where what side gets done first. You go ahead and do that. I'll wash up. And remember, one hand is what?
Clean.
Yeah.
And one hand is all dirty.
Right.
bone's pretty sharp. Cutting me up.
Was that the bone?
Yeah, cutting me up.
Okay, and if you want to switch sides?
Yep.
All right, and what do you think about barbecue? Do you love barbecue?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I love it so much.
I was like, how many times have we gone out to have barbecue? Never?
No, really, never.
Yeah. And that's why. So what happens is we got the Boston butt here in the smoker. And we've already put probably about 2 cups, actually a cup. And as you can see, we put the little temperature thing in on the bottom shelf on the thickest piece of meat, because up here is going to get a lot hotter. We also and cook it to its 194. It's 192.7, so it's pretty darn close. Let's take a look at it. Here we go. Bark-Osaurus. Here we go. Take a look at it. Looks pretty awesome. A trick here: if you don't get the bark you want, guess what?